sometimes as a person, if you were previously doing something notable and then abruptly let it go, you may be looked at as having fallen off.
Mm-hmm.
I know we were talking about an artist who you mentioned that at a time they were, was it just a couple songs he did and then they stopped, or?
I think it was just that one song. I'm sure they did other ones, but I think it was that one that did it exceptionally well.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just stopped. But I think when I was reading the comments, people were saying, "Oh, they fell off. What happened to him?" But well, I can understand what happened to him. Maybe they were just curious. But there was several people that were saying, "Oh, they fell off." But I don't always find that necessarily true, because I think they meant it in a way that, oh, what happened to them? Like, oh,
As though they're washed up.
yeah, but I could be totally wrong because it was just a comment, but that's just how I felt when I was reading it, as people were saying, writing that. I was thinking, why do people say that about?
Yeah, I don't think that's accurate. I can see if you have an artist that was notable for well, obviously an artist, well, music.
Mm-hmm.
You have an artist that was trending at one point, and then they're still doing music, but perhaps they're no longer doing big venues,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe smaller bars. I can see how somebody can say, oh, they're washed up because they're not doing as well as they used to. Though, even at that, I don't think it's necessarily accurate, because who's to say that this artist doesn't want to do smaller gigs
Mm-hmm.
for them to be more intimate for their listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I remember there was a actor that at one point he was doing these huge movies, blockbusters, and out of nowhere he just stopped. And I remember thinking to myself that he was such a good actor, and it's not as if he all of a sudden became worse.
Mm-hmm.
He just abruptly stopped. And then years later, I found out that he just went to live a private life.
Oh, wow.
Then he came back and started doing independent films. And I thought that was cool, in that he was able to do things on his own terms and not necessarily stick to something only for financial gain, because at that point it could be that it would show in your work.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's better to leave at the top of your game
Mm-hmm.
than to keep at it and then it show. Because I've seen that too with boxers, where they'll continue to fight when they no longer shouldn't, and so because of them.
Wait, they no longer should.
Yeah, they no longer should, and because of which they.
It shows in there.
Yeah, in those circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
you could say that one is washed up. But even with regular people too,
Yeah, I was going to say
you
that.
can see that in some cases, say maybe someone had a better job,
Mm-hmm.
and they were making a lot of money, and for whatever reason they choose to get a smaller gig and maybe even an entry level job, perhaps because they no longer want that responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And some people might deem that as having fallen off.
Yes.
But
And
who's
that's
to
not
say that
true.
that person is not in a better space because of those decisions?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's that. I know you in the past were keeping up with a YouTuber that had a good following, and then they abruptly stopped.
Yeah, she didn't have millions of followers. She had she was up there, and I remember she was making videos that I related to.
Hmm.
And I thought, because I don't subscribe to people. There's nothing wrong, but I don't do it much. But I was thinking, okay, yeah, she's really cool. But all of a sudden, I went to go look at her page, and I was thinking, all her videos are gone. What happened? She has other platforms, and when you see the comments on her other platforms, people are asking, when are you going to bring YouTube back? When are you going to go back on YouTube? And she doesn't respond. She doesn't have to. But I think she just kind of left us in the dark. So you do start thinking, okay, why would she do that? I mean, has she? I don't necessarily think she's fallen off, though, because she is on other platforms. I think perhaps she just doesn't like the way she looks maybe on the videos. Editing is hard, I'm sure. So, but it's just unfortunate because she had good, relatable videos.
Yeah, and I
that
feel
I enjoyed.
as time went on, she changed,
That's also too, yeah.
but it happened from one week to another. It just
That's what it
changed.
feels.
And I can see how one can do that on their own, yet you kind of had to question why it was done, because you think, okay, if you had something that people favored and then you all of a sudden switch it, because it almost seemed as though it was a whole different channel.
That's what I was going to say. It was a big switch because for a little bit you could see some of her newer videos and some of her older ones, but now she just completely erased all her videos. But her newer ones, yeah, they were completely different. I was thinking, oh, okay, why would she do this? But
yeah, and she took it off to where you can even go back and see them.
But also the way she changed it, I was thinking, oh man, why would she do that? But she obviously did it for a reason, for herself. She doesn't need to explain it to anyone. It just kind of sucks because she did have a good following. That's kind of what was hard for me to understand, for you to just switch it up so drastically. But you're right. I think she might have seen someone else's style and thought, oh, maybe I should try that. Even though her original videos were, they were herself, they were hers.
And then she went back and deleted everything. And
all
so I guess I can somewhat understand that in that. I can somehow understand that in that. That's more
That's
than I need. I can relate to it because though I haven't did that, I have cringed at myself or been uncomfortable with hearing myself. And maybe that's something that you get accustomed to over time. And maybe some people don't. I don't think I have yet. Even with these recordings, I favor certain parts of it, but going back and having to listen to myself, I can only listen to myself for so long. And so because of which, it's not that I'm not trying to, well, I'll say this, I'll only do it as necessary as possible. Whatever is required, then I'll throw it up and then I won't go back and hear it or anything. And so, because if I did that, if I went on how I sound, then nothing would ever get put up. Because
you can admit that. That's good.
I would think to myself, that's not very good.
Yeah, I cringe at myself too. That's why, as you know, we mentioned it before when you're editing. I'm like, here, put your headphones on. I don't want to hear myself. But I don't know. It doesn't necessarily mean she's fallen off, though.
No, because I think she's going to college now, and so maybe she's trying to, I don't know, just a different, because everything is not online, right? Whether
I
it's
know,
movies or
yeah.
music or whatever. If anything, there's more offline than online.